Let's unbox the Funko Pop vinyl special edition figure of Admiral Ackbar. Villa Varykino. If it's Star Wars, we collect it. Hello there, thanks for visiting Villa Varykino. For the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi last year, Funko of course had to release a new line of Return of the Jedi Funko Pop vinyl figures, and you really can't celebrate Return of the Jedi without including Admiral Ackbar. Now of course Admiral Ackbar has been featured in Funko's Pop vinyl line many years ago, so for this new release we have sort of a fun new version of him with his iconic command swivel chair. I think this is such a fun way of reinterpreting Admiral Ackbar in the sort of new, slightly more detailed Funko style that we get in the new lines, especially when we compare them to those older figures, which were a little bit more simple. Now, he does look a little bit dark in this box, so I think it's definitely time that I get him out of the box and put him in my display. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Coming up really soon, I'll take a closer look at Admiral Ackbar out of the box. We'll check out all of the details, but first, let's take one last look at the packaging. I really like how they were able to do Admiral Ackbar with his chair in a standard single Funko scale. Sometimes when we start including scene elements, it gets scaled up to a deluxe. It's definitely much more easier to afford Funkos when we keep to those single ones. The deluxe ones generally jump up in size and of course price as well. This version of Admiral Ackbar is number 617. We can see the name Admiral Ackbar, and we also have the 40th Return of the Jedi symbol down here as well. The rest of the packaging, it takes its color design from that 40th placard there with black and red, which we can see down here and running up the side, and of course here on the side as well. I always really love this particular side. We get a nice clear image of the Funko inside. We can see the second Death Star looming large in the background there with a dark red. Of course we have the character name Admiral Ackbar and the issue number 617 there as well. Of course we have the window going round to the side where we can see Ackbar a little bit clearer there. Because he is an alien with a large head, it's kind of a little bit more hidden in here compared to a standard human character. Definitely think he's going to look a little bit better outside of the box. On the front here we have the blue and silver international special edition sticker. I'm in New Zealand. We generally don't have retailer exclusives as much here in New Zealand. We get them labeled with the special edition sticker instead, and they are generally available from standard Funko retailers, so a little bit easier for us to find here in New Zealand. We've got the name running down here the side, Admiral Ackbar 617. I kind of like just the little sneak there of his face down the bottom. And on the back, again, another little image there of the Funko. We have the Return of the Jedi classic logo there with the Death Star behind it as well, and some of the other Funko characters available from this particular wave. Luke Skywalker, two versions of Princess Leia, Wicket, C-3PO, and an unmasked Darth Vader. I'm definitely trying to add the rest of these to my collection, still trying to track them down. I was surprised with how long this particular wave lingered at stores here in New Zealand. I am still able to find this available from Funko stockists here in New Zealand at a sale price. So if you are still hunting for it, it hasn't sold out. You might just have to hunt a little bit more further afield. But for us here in New Zealand, this one's still available from stockists, which I thought was kind of interesting. I thought an iconic character such as Admiral Ackbar would get snapped up very quickly, but I'm super excited I was able to add him to my collection, so let's get him out of the box and check out all of the details. As usual, I'm going to open this box up from the underside, just in case there's any kind of little wrinkles with the cardboard from opening them up. Of course, I do like to keep the boxes and all of the packaging for my Funko figures. Let's slide out the plastic. We'll take a quick look at the insert card that was inside behind the character. Of course, we have the Death Star 2 there in that dark red coloring. That's kind of fun there in the back. And now we can see Ackbar a little bit more clearer now. So let's pop him out of his clear plastic tray. Okay, there we go. Now we can properly see him. Of course, he is the alien species Mon Calamari. Kind of resembles goldfish in a way, but he has such an iconic face. I think he's rendered here really fun. Oh, just absolutely fantastic. So let's clear the packaging so we can take a better look. I really like the pose and sculpting on this new Admiral Ackbar figure. There's just something so iconic about his command chair as we see it during the Battle style over Endor. And I think it's a really interesting way to update this character. I know that Funko doesn't really reissue their classic original Funkos. Oftentimes they kind of get archived. So I think posing him seated rather than that original basic standing Funko pose was a great option here. And I just really like the sculpting. He has a really detailed face, which I think could have been tricky to translate in the Funko style. You know, they kind of have to balance realism with the kind of simplified style, and of course the iconic black Funko round eyes, which work really, really well for him. It's almost too realistic. It kind of doesn't make me think of the Funko style. The eyes work really well for Ackbar here, and I just absolutely love that bubble. We've got sort of an interesting darker brown tone pattern here over his iconic orange head, which is painted reasonably well, and you can see that that pattern goes all the way around on all sides and on the top. Nice painting here as well. Just maybe a little bit of here and there, but honestly nothing really bad, nothing sort of really smudged or anything major. Nice clean eyes. I will say the color of his hands is a little bit different to the plastic of his head, because this is an element that is painted. This is the native sort of orange toned plastic, which often the paint and plastic don't exactly match, but certainly on camera it looks a little bit closer to my eyes here. This is a touch more brown than the orange tone of the face here as well, but not enough that it was really bothering me, and I'm only really noticing because I am studying the paint job up close. The details on this are all reasonably well painted. Of course, we've got his darker toned sort of vest here with a sort of silver com rank badge here on his chest. We've got his white tunic. Of course, it doesn't extend down past his elbows because of his uniquely shaped forearms and hands. Then we've got his white pants and boots with that yellow stripe running down the side there as well. And we've got a fairly detailed chair. Of course, we've got that really interesting sort of neck support there, which is a little bit more on his back here. It's a little bit short because of course it can't really go up behind the Funko head there. Of course, they're a bit big. Sometimes I find that they do have to tweak details, such as the rocket on the back of a Boba Fett's jetpack can't extend up as high as it should because it gets in the way of the bobblehead. So I understand they've taken a little bit of liberty here. This obviously wouldn't be a backrest in that specific shape, but I do like that they still have it there, even if it doesn't make quite as much sense. But the paint job on this, there is just a lot of detail on this chair. We can see we've got some grey paint there and around the base as well. The black seat. Overall, I think this is really quite cute. It's just sort of, I can just hear his voice when I look at this, and I think it works so well with this sort of cute little bobble head there as well. Of course, we have the classic black raised Star Wars base. Of course, this design wouldn't have worked well in that older era where the Funko figures were simply kind of resting on a peg on the base. You could remove them from the base. This one definitely needs to be permanently attached, and I can just make out the remnants of some clear glue right there at the base. So he is firmly glued on and attached. From the front, we have the iconic silver Star Wars logo printed there. Looks pretty straight and tidy. And of course, on the underside, we just have the sort of the copyright information there. We can see that this was 2023, which of course was the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, which was originally released in 1983. One thing that I do think is interesting, on this base, there is a number, which is a little bit hard to show, but it's kind of just raised number on the black plastic here. I'm not quite sure why that is there. It's a little bit hard to show because it's right underneath sort of the base of his foot, but it is a raised number on the base. I'm not quite sure why that is there, as opposed to just sort of being hidden on the underside somewhere. It has a number that reads 64123. I'm not sure why that is there, but anyway, it is just a little bit odd that you can see it there. just kind of just draws my eye a little bit. Of course, once he's on a display, I don't know if that's actually a flaw of this particular one. I haven't really noticed that with any others that I've seen in the store. Perhaps if I spot this one, I'll have to see if that is present on any of the others I spot, but it is a little bit hard with all of that plastic packaging. But overall, I think he's fantastic. He looks really cute. He's posed well in his chair. I like his bobblehead. He's painted well. And of course, if you're going to build up a Return of the Jedi collection of Funko figures, you have to include Admiral Ackbar. I really like the color too. Not too cartoon orange, just the right kind of tone. A little bit of a subtle sort of brown undertone there to his skin. And I really like the sculpting here. Of course, he's got that sort of goldfish, sort of catfish style to his face there. Not too serious, not too frowny or smiley, just the right kind of expression. I think this is really cute. I'm really happy to have this one in my collection. And of course, it's always fun if you're able to grab them at a little bit of a discount, which I was able to grab this one on sale, which I was very surprised. I thought this one would disappear before it ever hit clearance. I was able to pick this one up on sale, and I think he looks so cute. Really happy to have this one for my collection. I think Ackbar, with his status and with that iconic line that has become a modern day meme, this is the kind of collectible that you can have on your shelf even if you don't collect a lot of Star Wars things. I think everyone knows Admiral Ackbar and his iconic line. I think you can just have this one as a little bit of fun Star Wars memorabilia, even if you don't collect the whole Return of the Jedi line by Funko. So there you go. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today as I opened up another Star Wars collectible and had fun. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are in the galaxy, and let's hang out again very soon for more Star Wars fun. May the Force be with you. If you're a Funko Pop vinyl fan, I recently unboxed the Darth Vader vs. Luke Skywalker deluxe scene. That video is linked here in case you haven't already seen it, as well as our whole Funko unboxing playlist. This is the way.